Blessings to the Most High Yahweh. Blessings to the universe. Blessings to the ancestors. Blessings to the Yeshua consciousness. Thank you for tuning in to Magnetic Intuition. I hope everyone's blessed. Just wanted to drop some gems. See what the temperature is out there. It's been cooking. It's been cooking this summer. I must say. It's been a really good summer, going through transformations and just raising my frequency, and I pray that everyone else is too. I hope we're not dropping down, We need to be elevating every year, as we go, even every month, every day if you can. But more or less, today I wanted to talk about my marijuana experience and how that affected my life. Wow. So I know many people that's watching this, they've probably tried it before or heard about experiences, either way it go. I mean, everyone knows why marijuana is going legal in many states, So I had to get to it on this one because, of course, marijuana is spiritual as well, and it has a lot of pros and it has a lot of cons, and I want to touch on that and tell you my experience and how it affected me and how it's affecting me today, even though I don't use it anymore. So let me break down how I started. So first and foremost, when I was 18, I started drinking alcohol. We used to go out every night. I mean, when I say every night, I mean like four nights a week, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. When we first got into college, it was just out there going in, as much as we wanted, And, yeah, I was introduced to it, of course, and I noticed that alcohol was giving me like this I don't give a F type vibe, like, yo, I could go and talk to any chick. I could kind of feel how I want to feel, do what I want. It just gives me this feeling I never had before, while I was in high school. So it gave a sense of more freedom, It was like a wild, anybody that knows me, they know that I'm real laid back, chill, very calculated, but mysterious, But alcohol, it just brought me out. Like it gave me that feeling of I don't give a shit, Excuse my French, but yeah. So I started off with alcohol and did that for many years. And in another video, I'll talk about alcohol, But on this video, we're gonna focus on marijuana. So I decided after drinking alcohol for, I want to say, maybe like 10 to 12 years, I decided like, hey, you know what? Enough is enough, I'm tired of drinking. It doesn't give me the same effect. I always feel like the next day I feel like trash. I feel drained. I want to be more energized. And I want it to be more spiritual. I want it to be more healthy, So I decided like, hey, what about marijuana? I don't want to smoke though, because I'm not a smoker. I definitely want to do something to where I won't have to like light up anything, I could just, hopefully I can ingest it, or maybe drink it or something, and get the hot fix. So I looked into that and I found out about edibles, and I started getting into edibles. I started making them at first, and I was getting my marijuana from a friend of mine, an old friend of mine, which is, I found out that he's a Mason now. So we'll get into that, because this whole video is about while I'm using marijuana, what the effects that the secret society had on my marijuana use. So it started from the beginning. The same friend that introduced me to alcohol introduced me to marijuana. But with the marijuana, he told me that the marijuana was coming from his ex-girlfriend, which they were doing trials and she was going to the marijuana. So basically, I'm an experiment, right? Most human beings are experiments, if y'all don't know that, especially if you're in the U.S., right? Me in particular, I'm like a top experiment because I'm a earth angel. So the main reason why a lot of this is going on is because I'm an experiment, and I found out I was an experiment. So that's why I'm going through a lot of the harassment I'm going through as well. So anyway, so I was using the marijuana and it was super strong, but it had me on a different frequency. So I was like, yo, this is my type of thing. It's real spiritual, you know, and I just feel totally different. I don't feel all drained in the morning. So I started using it and I got addicted to it, right? And when I say addicted to it, I don't mean like using it every day. I'll use it on weekends. I'll use it for like a Friday, Saturday night, you know, just for like entertainment purposes, like social wise, you know, kind of like when people drink alcohol. So it was kind of a replacement for alcohol, you know. But of course, we have to look within, right? We can't look outside of ourselves to get enjoyment from other substances, you know. If every once in a while, okay, no big deal, right? No big deal. But for me, it became a thing where I was using it. Now I was using it having sex as well, right? So I had a girlfriend at the time, and I was using it while I was having sex, and I noticed that it intenses the sex, you know. If you're a marijuana user, you know that, right? So now let me fast forward. I found out that the people that I was getting marijuana from were actually putting witchcraft on my marijuana. Yeah, they were putting witchcraft on my marijuana. So whenever I went to, all right, first and foremost, my suppliers, like I said, my old homeboy, he's a Mason, so he was putting witchcraft on my marijuana. And then when I was getting it from certain dealers, I had a marijuana dealer from another Freemason that I know, and he was putting witchcraft on it. And then there was the dispensaries, right? Now they started making these dispensaries, and you know, in California, I was working in California, I was working in New York, in different places. So the secret societies, they follow you. They were following me everywhere I go, right? If I'm in a hotel for work, they're next door spying on me, right? If I'm going up the street and I put anything I put on my GPS, they intercept it from my phone because my phone has always been hacked. Excuse me. So every time I went to the dispensary, I noticed, and I started picking up on this, you know, more recently, right? Like early last year, the year before, right? So noticing that whenever I go to the dispensary, there will always be someone coming in with a bag, and they'll give the marijuana dealer in the dispensary a bag, and then they'll leave. And then that person would do whatever they do, and then give me the marijuana that I want, right? So I found out that they've been doing the witchcraft that way. Like when I'm in the dispensaries, I caught somebody. The last time I used marijuana, about almost a year and a half ago, right? This was back last year, I think, in like maybe a year, maybe like July or June of 2024. That's when I like completely stopped. And I caught a guy taking the marijuana from someone, and then like kind of like, oh, let me put yours in the bag, and then he switches it out from the person that came in with that marijuana and gave me that one. So I peeped it, and I was like, yo, this is my last. I can't do this anymore, you know. And I've been wanting to stop for the longest. I wanted to stop for the longest, but at that point in time, I was like, you know what, this is it. This is my sign. Like the Most High is giving me the eyes to see what the devil's putting and doing, what the devil's doing to my marijuana, right? Or drug, right? You could call it whatever you want. It's okay. Like, I don't get hurt about labels like that, you know? The people that use marijuana, they know what it makes you feel like, you know? And it does have benefits, but know where you're getting your weed from, you know? If you can pick out your weed, if you can even grow your weed, marijuana, just do it, you know? Because you don't really know who's supplying your marijuana. Because even though I'm a targeted individual, someone that the dark side, the dark government's watching, you know, and other intelligences that are on the dark side. Because like I tell y'all before, there's good people in the government, and there's a dark side to it, you know. And there's a good part of the FBI, and there's a dark side of the FBI. And those dark sides are gonna be the people that's in the secret society, the Illuminati, Freemasonry, Eastern Stars, Bones and Skulls, and etc. Right? So the whole point I'm trying to make is know who you're getting your marijuana from. When I was in Jamaica for a wedding, one of my homeboys back in the day, they were actually getting the marijuana like right in front of us, literally. Like, they were pulling it out right in front of us, you know? And we have to have some standards. We just can't go and buy marijuana from anyone, you know? So for all these years, my marijuana has been getting witchcraft put on it. What kind of effects did it have on me? Probably a number of effects. Maybe addiction effects. Maybe taking my creativity out of me, you know, which is dealing with depressing my solar plexus, you know, which is where you get creativity from. It's draining my energy, making me lazy, you know, like certain things like that, you know, making me more horny, making me want to have more sex, and these type of things, you know. Other things, you know, maybe it could be some, you know, some demonic stuff too, you know. But I think for me, it was more or less like wanting to have sex after having marijuana, or masturbation, you know, these stuff, you know, that are not really good for you if you're not with someone, you know, that you love, you know, and etc. But anyway, like I said, if you're gonna use marijuana, use it every once in a while. Don't use it every single day. Don't make it a habit to use it every single day. And that's just for your health, you know. I mean, it can mess with your lungs. I mean, there's just so many different ways. It makes you foggy in the brain. So now you're not even thinking at the percentage that you're supposed to be thinking. You're thinking even lower now, you know what I'm saying? Because your brain is fogged up. So what happens with that situation is, instead of looking at real events that's happening, you may want to look more into like sports and partying and, you know, things like that. Like, marijuana kind of pushes you away from reality, you know? Let's just keep it a buck, you know? Let's keep it 100, you know? Like, it pushes you away from reality, you know? And if you want to do that, just don't do it every day. Don't do it the majority of the week, you know. Just help yourself, keep yourself clear-minded, stay focused, you know. There's so many distractions out here. So just keep that in mind. Keep that in mind, that your marijuana may be laced up with witchcraft or other products in there, you know. I'm sure the marijuana is GMO too. I've heard conversations about that, you know, because at the end of the day, like, what is life really about, you know, in this type of society, on this stimulation that we're in, this matrix that we're in, right? If you want to go further, right? Like, we're dealing with a system, and it's not just the U.S., and it's not everyone in the U.S. that wants to control people and tell them what to do and what to eat. And, this is all about control. So we have to be able to be aware of these type of things and make sure that we're on top of who we are and staying spiritually awakened to people that don't want the best good for us, that want the best success for us, want us to be lazy, want us to be bots, want us to call them God when it's, the real Most High with us all the time. We don't need another human to call God. We can do that ourselves, and the best way to do that is to spiritually raise your frequency up. Take care of your body. Stay clear-minded. Stay focused. Keep a clean diet if you can. That's another thing. I'll make a video about that. That's the number one thing. Keeping a clean diet to keep your mind focused, to stay energized. Because this is all it is. This is all we are. We're energy. We're spirits. Spiritual beings that live off of energy. When we're being drained, someone else is getting our energy. Another entity is getting our energy. So, inner chi, right? That's our chi, right? Our inner God, our inner chi. So let's keep our life force going. Stay blessed, y'all. Magnetic Intuition. Much love.